What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. What's up, guys, and welcome to another little WoW adventure we're going to have today. And we are still in the Wrath Classic pre-patch, and you know, when I came up with this idea to kind of have these little adventures and just have fun little videos and share them with you guys, I was thinking of like larger scale things, like, you know, classes and just different aspects to different classes and just a couple of, you know, different things that we'll get into as time goes on and I get out more videos like this. I hope you guys do enjoy these. But today I was leveling my paladin here and I'm around 32, and when I hit 30 I was like having a hard time figuring out where to go next, you know, because I was kind of like in that weird transitional phase, because like when you go to a new zone in Classic, it's like if you were at 30 or at 40 or at 20, it's kind of hard unless you go to like a transitional zone, which is like Red Ridge Mountains, where it's like 15 to 25 range. Those are kind of nice to kind of give you something to do in the middle. But yeah, so like going to a new zone is tough, right? So I was trying to figure out what to do, where to go. I got a couple levels in like wetlands because I hadn't leveled there, and I was like, man. And then I remembered that Kalimdor exists. You know, I'm an Alliance character, and I completely forgot that Kalimdor exists. Back in the day, I leveled Horde, and one of my favorite areas to level around this bracket, around this like low 30s bracket, is right here, the Shimmering Flats. This place is awesome. I have so many fond memories of the Shimmering Flats, and so whenever I come here, especially as an Alliance, I like to go to Gadget Zon or whatever in Daenerys, get the flight path, so that way I have somewhere to go, or if I need to fly back here or whatever, I can easily get here. But this is a very significant zone to me, because this place doesn't exist anymore. In retail WoW, the Shimmering Flats are no more, because all of Thousand Needles has been completely flooded, right? So the Shimmering Flats are at the bottom of the ocean kind of now. And so it's a bittersweet thing, because I think that the new Daenerys is a pretty cool zone, and it's a pretty fun leveling experience in its own right, and it's actually did a lot of cool things, like in terms of foreshadowing Vashir. You know, there's like a dead whale shark at the bottom of the Shimmering Flats, and like you do a lot of fun stuff going into the water and swimming around, and they do a really good job like creatively to get you around that zone. I think that like if you've never leveled through even modern Thousand Needles, it's pretty cool, and you should probably try to do it at least once. But the trade-off, of course, is that the old Thousand Needles, which was one of my favorite zones in Classic WoW, we're going to focus mostly on the Shimmering Flats, but honestly, the entire zone, I think, is pretty cool. There's, you know, a lot of, like, ledges. You have to go up on these great lifts and you know, climb up mountains or like these little ledges to get to the top of the peaks. And so you've got the main Thousand Needles area, which is like this rocky canyon with these, they call them, they're like needles, right? These rock formations that look like needles, and there's like some Tauren quests, some really fun ones, like if you're Horde, you'll get a lot of questing there. But then you come out here to the Shimmering Flats, and it's like this goblin area. There's like goblins here. They're you know, the Mirage Raceway, which is like a very unique area in the game. And then, of course, this place in general here, it actually looks like you're at like the bottom of a sea. Like, this used to be flooded. Like, it looks like it used to be flooded, and, you know, now it's obviously not. And you've got this big, like, what would this be, a valley or like a canyon? I don't even know what you would call this. I'm no geographer, I think. I don't know. But, you know, so you come here and you got all these quests, and, you know, there are probably lots of people here because it is a fresh server, so I might have trouble getting some of these done. But really, like, in terms of the quests themselves, they're not that exciting. I mean, this is Classic. There's a lot of kill a bunch of enemies, kill a bunch of, you know, creatures or whatever, and that's exactly what you do in this Shimmering Flats. It's kind of like doing a Nessingwary area. Like, if you think of like Stranglethorn Vale, the first Nessingwary area, you think of Nagrand, you know, or Valley of the Four Winds, the bottom west side in Pandaria. You know, there's one there. Like, every expansion kind of has it, but this is another one of those where like you're just tasked with going out and clearing out a bunch of just different animals, picking up some parts. I think there is a what is it? Not Nerubian. But there's a bug area over to the southwest part of the Shimmering Flats. You'll go do some quests there, and it's funny too because like this is like a 30-35 range area, I guess, and then you go to Teneris and it's like 40, so you can't even go to Teneris yet. So it's like one of those weird examples of like how old WoW was designed, where it wasn't very like it didn't flow to the next area. You'd go here. Like what I'll probably do is I'll I came from. Where did I come from? I did like 1 or 2 quests in Wetlands, and then I did like 1 quest in Arathi Highlands, and then I came back to Wetlands, sailed over to Theramore, was too low to quest in Theramore, so I ran through Theramore, tried not to die, and I ran south from the Barrens and then came here. It's just funny how navigation in Classic is. I kind of like it though. Like I kind of like that aspect of it. Like it's you explore. It takes a little bit of work. It's like, oh man, and like I remember back in the day always looking up guides, which is debatable whether or not that's always ideal, but like it's fun to explore and travel around and not just like stay in one place for too long. Like even like doing like the Barrens or Stranglethorn Vale, I felt like the way I would do it is I would go there, I would do some stuff, and then I'd leave and I'd go somewhere else like Stone Talon or Ashen Vale. Then I'd come back and do more stuff in the Barrens, And so it's kind of like the same thing. Like it's just kind of fun. But anyway, talking about the Shimmering Flats, like coming here, I was really excited because like I said, this back in the day, Thousand Needles as a whole was always one of my favorite zones to level in, but especially the Shimmering Flats. Both Alliance and Horde can level here. This little guy here is a 35. He might be a little bit too tough for me. But it's like some pretty easy quests. It's just a bunch of kill quests and a couple gather quests. It's all good. And then, you just kind of do your thing, help the goblins out. Like, I'll probably go to, maybe Stranglethorn after this, maybe do some of the early quests there, go somewhere else. I'm not really following a guide. Like, I started off leveling with a guide, and then I realized that I'm not in any hurry and I want to have fun, so I stopped doing that. Like, I just kind of go wherever I feel like going, and it's been a lot of fun doing it that way. But what do I remember? So there's so many things I remember about this place. Like, I always leveled here. Like, on almost every character, I came to Shimmering Flats. It's definitely one of those places that I miss because I feel like it's a little unique. Like, I don't feel like there's a lot of places like this in the world. And it's like, in retail, now that it's gone, even though, like, the new Thousand Needles is kind of neat, I miss old Thousand Needles a lot. I kind of wish I could go back there in retail. I kind of feel bad that it's gone because it's like this very chill like place. There's like this the ground looks kind of cool, and you're just out here killing a bunch of animals, wildlife, and getting these quests done. And I just remember spending a lot of time here. I remember, like, one of the things I remember is, this might be weird to some people, but like, back when I was playing WoW back during these times, I was going through Bible college, and so I did a lot of like Bible studies. And so what I would do is I would have the audio Bible on. Of course, I'm visually impaired, and so reading a lot for a long time, certainly reading something like the Bible, even a large print Bible, was very taxing on my eyes, and I'd get like headaches and stuff. So what I would do is I would listen to the audio Bible, and so I would play WoW and study through listening to the audio Bible, because like this game is a great game to listen to a podcast or a book to, because like it's such a chill like game. It's not very fast paced, especially like a place like this. And I distinctly remember listening to, like, I think I was listening to maybe 1st and 2nd Samuel, like the story of King David at the time. I vividly remember, I'm pretty sure that's what I was listening to, and I even remember like just parts of it. So I remember doing that here. It's kind of crazy thinking about like stuff like that, like just those little memories that I have personally. So I have a lot of connection with this place. And I think like another thing, like, when you think about the old game, and I don't know, like when I first played Classic WoW, geez, I'm getting attacked by everything. I played on a PvP server, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what made me want to do that. It's not something I would really do now. I'm not a big fan of PvP, certainly forced PvP. It's something I tend to avoid. It's just not something I enjoy. But at that time, I wanted to do something like that because I thought it would be fun, and it was fun. It definitely, probably took me longer to level up a character than it did most people. But one of the things I remember is I was a part of a guild, and somebody in our guild was like trying to quest here, and I was a part of like a larger guild. I always am part of a large guild. I don't know why, but I was part of a larger guild on my server. We were Alliance, and there was someone trying to quest here, and they were getting picked on by some Horde. And so they called on our guild, like, hey, any guildies able to come and help me out in Shimmering Flats? I'm getting picked on. So a bunch of high levels, including myself. Like, I wasn't as high as other people, but I was higher, so I could come and try to help. And I was playing my hunter, so like I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. And like me and like a bunch of other people in our guild showed up. There was like 10 of us. We came and like we started fighting Horde. And so next thing we know, like, I don't even know how, like, what one thing led to another or what it was. So there's, like, more Hoarders showing up fighting, and then a bunch more Alliance show up, and, like, now there are, like, multiple guilds involved, and literally, like, this whole place, like, around the Mirage Raceway on the west side over here was, like, a battlefield full of Alliance and Horde. It was, like, the craziest thing I had ever seen. I had never really experienced, like, any major or really much world PvP at all, like, maybe a little bit. But like it was like this massive scale battle. Like people always talk about the battles they had in Hillsbrad between South Shore and Terran Mill. There's a lot of stuff there. But what I remember, like when I think of PvP, world PvP, I think of the battle I had, the Battle of Shimmering Flats. Like, and it was amazing. Like that's one of those things that I remember because this is like, you know, one of the first places, well, I guess maybe that's not true. I was going to say it's like one of the first places where the Alliance and the Horde will cross paths on Kalimdor. But that's probably not true because there's Ashen Vale, and I'm sure there's other places as well. But people like to come here, so I guess it was just like it was bound to happen sooner or later. You know, it's kind of like Stranglethorn. PvP would always, you get ganked there all the time too. So that's another one of those little stories that I remember. But it's just like, you know, there are times, you know, when I like when I look at Classic and I'm like, you know, I love a lot of what Cataclysm did, you know, like in terms of changing the game. But man, there are some areas that I miss the way they were. And like Shimmering Flats is like the first old world place that I think of, you know, like there's a couple others I think I've mentioned in other videos. The Barrens, Aberdeen specifically is one I miss. I missed it all. I hate that Aberdeen is like destroyed and it's like never been fixed, you know. But like when I come here in retail, it's like a bittersweet thing because I know like it's cool that it changed. It was like, you know, when you have those big changes in Old World, it was kind of cool that was one. You know, this whole place gets flooded and it gets pretty like almost to the top. Like it's crazy what they did with this zone, and that was like. That was a, you know, probably a big expansion seller. Like that, holy crap, the Cataclysm is going to be crazy. The freaking Thousand Needles is flooded, you know. The Barrens is split in half, and that's another zone that I miss the old zone a lot, you know. So this is definitely like one of those things of Classic. I mean, I think I even like back when Nostalrius was around and people were talking about Classic, I think that Shimmering Flats was always a place that popped in my brain. Like, man, that would be cool to go back and play Classic just to go back to the Shimmering Flats. So, you know, I don't know if the Shimmering Flats specifically will be a place that like is special to you guys or other people, but it's definitely one of my favorite zones, you know, from Classic. Like that's not really technically in the game anymore, but like, you know, what's your Shimmering Flats? Like what's your zone that you look back on and you kind of like miss from Classic? You know, like maybe if you play Classic, you're kind of glad to see it again, and you know, like glad that like, I mean, like for me, like you know, it kind of is my theme, right? Like I like both versions of the game, and it's kind of cool that I get to play two different versions of, you know, Thousand Needles, you know what I mean? So like I'm kind of glad that there are two different versions and stuff like that. So like I hope that like, you know, that we keep a Classic, you know, pre-Cata around even if they do new expansions, because it's nice to have the pre-Cata world. I think that's one of my favorite things about Classic is, you know, it's pre-Cata, there's old zones, there's experiences that you can have that you cannot literally have in retail because of how the world changed, and I think that's kind of cool. So it's one of those things, like I hope, like, you know, when they move forward with Classic, if they do move forward, I actually kind of hope they don't go to Cataclysm. Like, I personally would like it if they would go a different route. Maybe Cataclysm doesn't happen. You know, maybe they can do a different set of expansions. Maybe they can do like a different version of Warcraft. I don't think they will. I don't know if they'd be willing to do that or not. But I think that would be kind of a cool idea. I'd be open to it for sure. And I think that like that would be one of the first things is maybe don't destroy the world, or if you do minor things. You know what I mean? Maybe skip right on the Pandaria or something. Or I don't know, maybe add Hyjal in all those zones, but maybe don't change the old world. Like Deathwing came out and he didn't do much, but he's a threat. Like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like something like that. I don't know, man, because like I said, there's just something cool about like these old zones. Or maybe they could do something like where Chromie could really go back in time and you could have both. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could pick which, because like can't you do that in some zones in retail? Like you can kind of like pick between Tirisfal Glades that has Brill in the Undercity and a Tirisfal Glades that doesn't. Can't you like go back in time? Maybe they could do that through the whole classic world. Like you could go back and quest in the old style. Like that'd be kind of cool, you know? I think that'd be kind of neat actually. So, anyways, yeah, smaller video today, but I love the Shimmering Flats. You just took my thing. You just took my part, jerk. Fine. Hordling, you take it. I don't care. I'm leaving. But I'm going to keep questing in the Shimmering Flats. This place is really chill. It's really fun. But I thought I'd share this little experience with you guys. You know, it's just a cool little area. I like the vibe here. I'm going to be chilling here until I finish all these quests. It's going to be fun. But yeah, let me know what your guys' favorite classic zone is. Like exclusive to classic, not in the game anymore. Do you have like memories like that? Otherwise, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoy these little mini adventures that we're having. And I will see you guys on the next mini adventure. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.